Where was the fairness and compassion shown to my son and to my family when this person decided to take Todd's life? There was no fairness and compassion there.
Automatic life for second-degree murder is unconstitutional now. So what's next for more than 1,000 inmates in PA prisons? Judges and lawmakers will decide, but before they do, a Mid-State woman wants her voice heard, and she's closer to the issue than most of us.
But then that means the victim.
Truth be told, Stella Getchen would rather not be talking to us, but feels she has to.
I'm here to tell my husband's story.
And Todd Getchen's story is impressive. Blue-collar family, high school valedictorian, served in the Army to go to college on the GI Bill, then Dickinson Law, where he met Stella. They fell in love, married, had Ethan. They were happy, their future full of promise.
July 21st, 2010. That day changed my son's life forever. Todd took him to the YMCA summer camp in Camp Hill. Both didn't know it was going to be the last hug, the last goodbye, the last I love you.
Certainly, we believe a violent act was perpetrated and that someone's out there who did it.
Todd Getchen, avid hunter, was practicing at a shooting range when he became the target.
64-year-old Raymond Peak didn't have anything to say early Saturday morning after police charged him with homicide.
Raymond Peak, Camp Hill prison guard, killed Getchen to steal his rifle.
And you know, my young son said, why didn't he just ask Dad to borrow it? He said, Dad would have let him borrow it. And I had to explain to him at such an early age that there are some souls that are so depraved that they can't live among us.
And the killer wouldn't, Stella thought. In exchange for taking death off the table, Peak got second-degree murder, life in prison, painful trial avoided.
I wasn't focused so much on whether it was first degree or second degree. I was focused on the fact that he would be in prison for the rest of his life. And now that deal is off the table. Now the legislature is telling me, well, maybe he'll have a chance of parole at this point.
Actually, it was the Supreme Court ruling mandatory life for second-degree murder is unconstitutional. Courts told lawmakers to resolve it. Thus far, they have not. A Senate bill would replace automatic life with a 35-year mandatory minimum. The House version has no mandatory minimum and lets judges decide.
It's atrocious.
Stella hates it. House Judiciary Chair Tim Briggs co-sponsored it.
I support judicial discretion on these matters. Take all the facts in and make the appropriate decisions. I'm comfortable with that approach.
Cumberland County District Attorney Sean McCormick is uncomfortable with judges randomly redoing deals, opening old wounds. If Peak appeals, as expected, McCormick says he'll argue that this second-degree murderer get a second life sentence.
The defendant entered a plea and agreed. They made an agreement that they were going to serve the rest of their life in prison. They entered it knowing that that was going to be the penalty. And in those cases, I think we should get the benefit of the bargain that we struck at that time.
But advocates argue that some inmates, even murderers, deserve a second chance after decades behind bars. It is, after all, called corrections.
People have the capacity to change, and we ought to be taking a second look to see if that's happened. And if it has happened, we ought to have a path for people to rejoin the community and to be reunited with their families.
Stella says relitigating cases means reliving the horror for victims' families. She feels that's unfair. And while she might find compassion for getaway drivers, she has none for trigger pullers.
If these folks are eligible for parole and if they are granted parole, they're given a second chance at freedom, a second chance to spend time with their family, to have a conversation with their loved ones. The person who killed Todd, he took that away from us. My son will never get to hug his father again.
We do want to thank Stella for sitting down with us. She's a very private person, wrestled with that decision for weeks.
Hi, I'm Eric Finkenbinder from ABC 27. We're excited to announce the new ABC 27 News Plus app. Live stream newscasts or watch content on demand. This is different than the ABC 27 app on your smartphone. You can check this out at home and it's very easy to use. With a Fire Stick, go to the home page, scroll down to search, From there, enter ABC 27. Move over to the apps, and there we are. Click the icon and install. It's just that easy.